Well, when it comes to Super Bowl, fans are watching more than just the game, of course.
And now here for a little coffee talk is Rick Laney from Ackerman PR. We're so glad you're here. And you just tell the folks briefly watching right now, you have an experience with advertising, a big one actually.
Yeah, for 15 years prior to going into public relations, I was a marketing director for a holding company in Chicago. So I've worked with ad agencies in Washington, D.C., Chicago. I was actually a client of Ackerman PR's for a long time before joining Ackerman. So I have some experience in advertising, won 19 Addy Awards over the last 15, 16 years, and so advertising's right up my alley.
Well,
so we've got you in the judges chair then.
We cared about your opinion before we even knew that. So that just makes you even more credible. Okay, let's talk about some of the ads. One that came that a lot of people talked about was the Clint Eastwood ad. It was really on behalf of Detroit and all the car manufacturers that are made in the United States and Detroit.
I actually thought that was the best ad of the evening. It was right at halftime, and if you remember last year during 2011, Dodge also had the M&M ad, which was kind of a tribute to Detroit and Detroit getting back on its feet. Same thing, if you noticed last night, Clint Eastwood never mentioned the word Dodge or Chrysler. He never mentioned the company. You could, of course, see the products in the commercials, but I thought it was the strongest ad and a great follow-up to what they did last year with M&M, which was dubbed by a number of marketing professionals as the best ad of 2011.
Yeah.
And two totally different guys. Eminem, Clint Eastwood, different generations, different, kind of guys.
Clint Eastwood actually sounded very much like a political ad last night if you were listening to what he was saying. It was more about America than it was just the car industry.
Right. All right, the Skechers dog. I know a lot of people, my daughter thought this was awesome.
The Skechers dog caught my attention for one reason and one reason only. Tone Loc, of course, was in the background. So how can you not pay attention when there's a Tone Loc song on? I thought it was cute. Probably not one of the best ads during the Super Bowl, but it was definitely a cute one.
Wow.
And one in the moonwalk, of course, across the finish line.
He moonwalked. He said they're so far in advance he can moonwalk with his Skechers.
I do kind of like that one.
You're a sucker for a cute dog.
I am, and a cute baby. So speaking of babies, they're always the star, I feel like. Although I kind of feel, and I don't know what you think about this, but I always look forward to the E-Trade babies.
Yes.
What do you think about it this year?
Never get tired of the E-Trade baby. I mean, it's still, just a novelty. Last night, I think the theme during the Super Bowl was both the babies and the dogs and the pets.
Yeah.
The particular slingshot baby, all I can say is that someone is going to get hurt. I don't know if it's an older sibling who's watching this or if it's a baby, but someone will definitely end up getting hurt as a result of this commercial.
That makes me a little nervous, actually, to tell you the truth.
It was a good commercial. It's just when I was watching that, I was thinking, okay, some older brother or sister's watching this thinking, can't wait till mom puts baby in the bouncy swing.
Don't try this.
Yeah, we needed a disclaimer for that one.
Okay, so Doritos missing cat.
Wasn't terribly impressed with the Doritos missing cat commercial. The one that I think that probably didn't appeal to adults, but I thought was a fantastic ad, was the Naked M&M's ad, because it was so in touch and in tune with their demographic. If you think about who's buying candy, the tweens and the younger kids,
and a few moms, Rick.
And moms. It hit a real spot with its targeted demographic, which of course is what you want to do with advertising. And as I watched Twitter and Facebook and some of the other social media outlets last night, after that commercial ran, it lit up. And so they definitely struck a note with their target audience, and I thought that was a strong commercial.
And is that a sign of success?
There are so many different ways that they measure success. If you go back to the mid-'80s, 1984, when Macintosh did the Apple commercial, which had no mention, no reference, no visual of the product at all. It was just that really bizarre kind of 1984 futuristic ad. Since that time, many companies have taken more of a branding approach, and they know that they can push a product which may or may not resonate with their audience, but if they push the brand and they do something that gets people talking, the impact of that lasts a lot longer for them and benefits them over a longer period of time. And so you see much more branding and positioning in Super Bowl advertising. I mean, you have 111 million people watching. You're paying $3.5 million for a spot. That's probably the best way for them to get the biggest bang for their buck.
Okay, quickly tell us the best and the worst.
Like I said, I think the Clint Eastwood Dodge Chrysler commercial was the best, hands down. I didn't see anything else that would compete with that. that. GoDaddy. GoDaddy has made the last 2 or 3 years a practice in treating their audience and their targeted demographics as if they weren't very bright. It looks like they're targeting 13-year-old boys who wear Axe cologne. And I think their real purpose, of course, they say see more at GoDaddy.com as they leave you with the body painting, and you go to GoDaddy, and of course, you're seeing more about GoDaddy when you get there. I just have never been impressed with them. I think they're getting kind of tired and old, and I think GoDaddy needs a new approach. I certainly hope they paid Danica Patrick enough to embarrass an entire gender. The other one that I thought was pretty bad was the Teleflora commercial. The Teleflora with the Brazilian model who
I did not see that.
Looks at the camera and says, "Give and you shall receive." I'm not really sure what world that operates in, but I'm not familiar with it. And I would imagine that there were a number of husbands at home last night that probably were saying, or at least thinking, if my wife looked like that, I'd buy flowers all the time. Those guys probably won't show up at work today. So those were probably the two worst. Coca-Cola, the polar bears, again, 4 years now they've been using them. They were a novelty at first. I think people liked them. I think they're kind of tired. I think Coke probably has a big enough marketing budget that they could do something new and fresh.
Rick, we're out of time, but quickly answer, overall, good or bad this year?
They're always good. I mean, it's fun. It makes watching the game. It's part of watching the game for most people.
The experience. Rick, thank you so much for being with us.
That was fun.
We could go on and on.
Yeah.
This has been fun. Well, still to come this morning, our Every Monday Matters segment.
But first, Kathy Ramirez, Meadow Herb